What's up, everybody? Back on with King Los. How you guys doing? Hope you guys got some good rest. Hope everybody's all rested up and fighting that good fight, to recovery and doing everything you got to do to get yourself the right state of mind and getting yourself just back to where you were before any kind of your addiction started or any problems that you had previous to what you're going through right now. I kind of wanted to talk about childhood trauma and doing what you can to get over it. There's a lot of other things that go with childhood trauma, not just abuse and the other things that I've been talking about so much. There's a lot more. There's things that it causes within us that it's hard to get through. It's hard to deal with. It's hard to not really realize what the problem is, because we think where we're at in our life that it's just everything's normal, that it's everything's cool, everything's normal. It's really not. It's hard to see it in ourselves. Certain things, they can have narcissistic traits, so we always see it in everybody else, but we don't see it in ourselves. So some symptoms are, you can be very intense. You can be very dark and neurotic. You can be very lost with how you feel about yourself. You might think that people are talking about you. You might think that people are judging you, and they're really not. Some people are just trying to give you positive feedback about different things. It could be work, it could be anything, it could be school, it could be so many different things. And we take it a whole different way when you're dealing with this, because as a child, you dealt with so much. You think that everybody's attacking you, and it's hard not to feel like that. We can lash out at people, the people that are closest to us. We can be very how do I say, like very judgmental about yourself, thinking that other people are judging us, thinking about other people are making fun of us, or calling you this or calling you that. It can be so many different things, and it's hard to deal with. Like different instances, different people. Another trait is you're always people pleasing. You're always trying to please everyone around you, because you need that assurance. You need that assurance in your life that you think that everybody thinks that you're doing something wrong. You take things too seriously, and it can be something that's brought on by trust issues. It's called guarded distrust. Just out of nowhere, you can lash out at people that you love. You can lash out at people that are trying to help you. You can lash out at people that, like in a relationship, I remember when I was dating this young woman, we were probably in our early 20s, I want to say 20, 22, and she was a good person, and we were having, we're in that about 3 to 5 week stage in your relationship where you're all in love and you just, this and that, and you just see the best in each other, and there's nothing that anybody can say or do or, tell you about that person, because you're just so blinded by, the love and by, the excitement that you feel about this person, that anything, is just like, oh, this and that, whatever. And so one day we're supposed to go out on a date, and she told me, hey, I got to reschedule because, I have a friend that came in from out of town, and I need to be with them because they need support. I took that a whole different way. I took that as, oh, she's probably going to see somebody else. She's probably just playing games with me, and I blew up, and I was like, you know what, just forget it. We're over. And she did everything she possibly could to try to stay in the relationship. And no matter what she did and no matter what she said, I just wasn't having it. I was like, nah, this is a sign, and it's being wounded, and having doubt about the person, and having doubt mostly in yourself. It's not so much the other person; it's yourself that you don't trust. Feedback too. Feedback from anybody, especially from somebody that you love. You don't take it very well. You don't take it in a good way. You don't know how to take positive feedback because you think that everything that everybody tells you is they're attacking you, that they're attacking your persona, your personality, your the way you are, the way you think. You feel like everybody's just always attacking you. When you take things too intensely like that, it can be a number of things that are coming into play. It could be so many different scenarios, like it could be neglect that you experienced at home as a kid. It could be that you always felt like you had to put a show on for everybody to make everybody think that your life was better than what it actually was. Neglect can take many forms too. It doesn't have to just be, like your parents not paying no attention to you or whatever. It could be not having food in the house, or not having clothes that you want, or, not having enough of anything to make yourself feel better about yourself. Being made fun of in school because you have old clothes, or because you have because you don't have the same things other kids have. I experience that a lot. I see now as an adult that I didn't have the same things that other kids had. I see that I didn't have the same food. I didn't have the same shoes. I didn't have toys that I wanted. I didn't have the game systems, for a long time. I actually had to grow up and start working to get any kind of PlayStation or anything like that. Except for one that my brother gave me. It was when they had first came out too, and I was just blown away when he gave it to me. It was a Super Nintendo, and he gave me 3 different games. He gave me Killer Instinct, he gave me Punch Out, and Mario Brothers, and Donkey Kong. I forgot, it's 4 games. He gave me those 4 games. My brother Angel, miss you, bro, love you. He gave me those 4 games, and I just got so stuck on those games and that because I never had anything like that before. I got so stuck on those games and everything that my parents took it away, and they didn't want me playing for a long time, so I didn't play for a long time. We get very moody whenever we have childhood trauma. We get very defensive. We get very just on guard about everything, and it's all things that you have to work through. It's things that you have to talk to somebody about, and people think that they can just work through these problems by themselves all the time, with no problems, and that's not true. If you have a higher power, you got to look to them for help. If you have friends, like actual friends, like real friends, you need to ask them for help. You need to ask them for, guidance. And it's hard to do that because any kind of, like I said, like any kind of feedback seems like they're attacking you. So what do you do? Like, me personally, I think starting off at a rehab, talking to RSSs and talking to your therapist is going to get the ball rolling with everything. I think it's going to make people, not make you see, but help you see what's really going on in your life, and what you can actually do to fix it and help it and move on from it. Like I said, there's different things. There's darker childhood neglect. There's beatings and molestation. There's neglect from not having food, neglect from not having clothes, neglect from not having education. I acted like a clown in class. I love to make people laugh. I love to be a goofball. I love to just portraying myself as, the class clown, and making everybody laugh. And that's how I would get my satisfaction. That's how I would get my, my kicks out of school whenever I was still in school. And it never really led to anything good, because all I would do is sit there and joke around in class. I would go to the point where I'd find myself in the principal's office. I'd find myself in trouble. I even got suspended for being too disruptive. I think I was like in the 3rd grade, and I was being too disruptive, and I was, keeping the other kids from learning what they needed to learn, and the teacher would lash out at me, and I would lash right back out at the teacher, and we were just meant to, like I said, I've mentioned this so many other times, we were meant to hide everything. And so I was afraid to share anything with the teachers, with the school counselors, with all that. I was afraid to say anything because I always thought that my family would look down on me, and they would be looked down on, It took until a couple times in prison and actually talking to other people, talking to older cats, OGs, and they were like, bro, like, things get crazy, and you start laughing, and you start making fun of, situations, and they say it's not nothing to laugh at right now, but we're about to go, you be in a riot, you know what I mean? Like, you need to take it a little bit more seriously. And there I am, like, ha 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 ha, ha, laughing about everything. And I say, if it, there's a riot, it's gonna be what it is, and let's do this. And it's being a knucklehead, being a youngster. But once you start seeing what the problems are in yourself, if you can start seeing that without somebody helping you out, you start realizing that it's not all about you. It's not all about you. And you start becoming more accepting. You start becoming more aware of what's going on. And once you get aware of what's going on, and you start working through that, and you start moving through that, you'll start seeing other problems in your life that you can start making the issue not be such a big problem. Another problem is with this is that we get inflated egos because we try to make people feel or see or believe that we're living better lives than what we're actually living, when we're not living really good lives. Oh, my relationship's so great, my work is so great, I just got this promotion, I'm doing so great because of this, and I have a new car. And when in reality, your relationship's falling apart, You're about to get fired. You don't have a new car. You actually need 2 tires on your car. You need a new radiator. You know, and it's an ego thing. Like, you know, you want to make everything seem better, and you'll do anything you can possibly do to make people believe that. I used to do that all the time. Some of my past relationships, I would do that, and I would be like, you know, hey, yeah, you know, we're so in love, and we're having such a great time, and things are so great, and they couldn't be better. And when things were really just falling apart, they're falling apart for me. And we just kept doing it and doing it and doing it until things would actually fall apart. And then, you know, instead of what everything looked like on Facebook. So things look great on Facebook, you know, like you're living this just amazing life, you know, and you're so in love and your kids are great and everything. And one of my past relationships, we were having such a hard time. It was just ridiculous. But I remember doing that, and I remember that person talking about it, like, we're living a Facebook life, and I didn't understand what they were saying at the time. I was going through my alcoholic stage, and I never, ever, ever in my life thought that alcohol was going to get a hold of me like that. But it, man, when I say that it dug its claws into me, that was one of the hardest things that I had to go through, was that those years of alcoholism. I had to be at the store early in the morning to get beer, because or any wine, whatever, liquor. It didn't matter what it was, because if I wasn't there and I wasn't waiting for the alcohol section to open or whatever, and even if I did, it didn't matter. Before I'd get the alcohol, I'd start shaking. I'd start shivering. I'd go into these terrible, panic attacks, until I